Yeah, I thought we played better last weekend than we did the weekend before. So I thought there were a lot of strides. We weren't perfect. Um, but, I think right now it's about getting better each time we step on the court, and we did that. Um, a huge week in front of us. Obviously, a lot of people are locked into the Nebraska match, which will be a great showcase of, how big of a fan base there is in the state of Nebraska, and also how many talented volleyball players they are. So it's a really special night, I think, to showcase all of that. And then we've got a great Florida State team that I've been locked into film all day on them on Friday, and then UNO, who's probably playing the best volleyball maybe in history on Saturday. So, three really big matches in front of us.
Questions? Kirsten, what does this rivalry with Nebraska kind of mean to you, and what have you kind of learned about it over the years, especially with the way that the fans have come out and supported these matches?
Yeah, you try to tell recruits in the recruiting process that they're, the fan bases in the state of Nebraska for volleyball just doesn't really exist almost anywhere in the country, especially for a state the size of Nebraska. So I think it showcases that. I think it's great for Creighton and Nebraska to be a part of it, but I always think it really is about our incredible high school coaches, our high school programs, club programs, and then, I'm a broken record on this, but you do the trickle down from Division II, NAIA, junior college, Division III. I mean, we've got incredible volleyball across the board, and I just think this is kind of a place to showcase that.
From a volleyball perspective, what are the things that that you need to do well tomorrow so you give yourself a chance against a team that's that physical and that good defensively?
Sure. I think it's the same thing that was on all of our scouting reports this weekend. I think first contacts are probably going to be the key for both programs. I think being in system is going to be critical. Nebraska's been in a 6-2. A 6-2 is really, really a good offense when you're in system. I mean, you just have so many weapons. We're prepared for them to be in a 5-1, a 5-2. I mean, I think Nebraska's still figuring out who they are. But, yeah, for sure, first contacts are probably going to be the most important.
Does that make it harder to prepare for a team when you're not totally sure which one of those systems they're going to break out against you?
Well, I think you've got to be prepared for different things, for sure. The preseason, the first weekend's always like you put a scouting report together and it's like, be ready to change. So, that's kind of what our scouting report will say is these are some things that we've identified, but be prepared for them to throw something new at us.
Kirsten, what would you say the biggest difference is from the Nebraska team you played last year to the one you play tomorrow?
Well, clearly the setting. I mean, now they could go back to Hames, and I think there's a real possibility they could be in a 5-1 with her tomorrow night, which would, I think their middle's obviously different. But they, they had such a great recruiting class, especially on the pins, and those players are all a year older and a year better. So I think, and you're seeing those players carrying a lot of load. And then I think Kubik is the glue to that team. I mean, she just is so versatile, does so many things well, seems like maybe the spiritual leader of that team from the outside. So I think, she's just another year of leadership, and, she's been a great player her entire career, but I think she's playing her best ball right now.
What do you make of the possibility of setting an attendance record for the regular season tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll set it. I want to bust it way open, and part of it's the rivalry with Wisconsin. They're pining to break it in 2 weeks. So, I hope the fans will come out. Obviously we'd love you in blue, but regardless, we want you there. And again, I just think it's a really cool. A lot of high schools are coming out. Skipping practice to be there, and it's a nationally televised game. We want to showcase this great state of volleyball. I don't really feel pressure. I'm sure some of the players do. I think, this is such a great event, and we love it, but it's still a match, and I think, I spend time preparing for them just as we'll all spend time for Florida State and UNO. So, it would be a huge resume builder. Again, I talk to the team a lot about resume builders, resume killers, and it would be a marquee win for our resume. And so in that respect, it would be awesome. But is it something that consumes me at night? No. Maybe it should. But, I just think it's a great opportunity to play a phenomenal team.
I'm sure the answer is no to this, but I am a little curious. With the way the series has gone
It's not even about the state. I think, you know, we want to continue to push the envelope in this of our program. We're a top 20 program right now. We got to play top teams. I think Kentucky's a top 5 team. We played them this week. You know, last year we played Kentucky off the national championship and we beat them. So I think, you know, we're going to have to play very well. But I think we're in the mix to be playing against anyone that's a top team in the country. And obviously Nebraska's in our backyard, and we're excited for the opportunity to play them.
For players who haven't, some of your younger players maybe who haven't played an arena of this size, what is that adjustment kind of like for them?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a neutral court. Is not. I mean, I would love to play Nebraska and Sokol. John hasn't thought that's such a great idea, but it is effectively a neutral court. You know, usually most years it's a pretty split crowd. So we played at Wyoming, which is a small arena, but a pretty hostile crowd and a pretty loud student section. And one of my comments to them was, this will be good for us to kind of get ready for other matches. So very different than that, especially from the size perspective, because there's depth perception differences with a huge arena. But, you know, we'll see. Sometimes it is interesting, Matt. Sometimes kids show up and they play out of their mind on this stage, and other times, you know, the anxiety gets to them. So I don't know the answer to that. I guess we'll see.
Did you guys practice over there?
We're practicing over there today. Yep. That was your question, too?
Just what have you kind of learned from your team early on? You've had some really good tests this past week, and you mentioned playing in a hostile environment against Wyoming in their gym. What have you kind of seen so far that maybe questions you were looking to have answered early on?
Yeah. I think we've got pretty good offensive parity. I think Kinder feels comfortable setting anybody. I think, again, you know, when we've had success, serving and passing has been key. That's going to be critical. One of the things that we didn't do well the first weekend was, you know, I kind of talked about, we toyed with teams. We'd have long rallies. And, you know, against USC, you know, we talked a lot about when we get the opportunity, because it was a lot of siding out. Both teams were hitting at a really high clip to start of, you know, when we get an opportunity in transition, we have to put the ball down. We can't just play safe. And so, you know, that sort of mentality, especially against top teams that are so physical, when you get opportunities, you have to go for it. Even if you make errors, you got to go for it. So those things are learning curves. I love this group. I mean, they're just 18 fantastic women. They're really selfless. I think they really buy in. And that doesn't mean people are happy with roles all the time, but I think they all have a team before self attitude of, you know, if I need to be on the bench or I need to change roles or whatever you need from me to make our team the best. We've got a bunch of women that are bought into that. And I mean, that's really, really lucky, because a lot of teams don't have that, you know, going on in their team.
What do you think about UNO, the start that they're off to?
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at RPI futures, and they're in the mid-30s right now. So it's, again, now, you know, 3 programs in the top 40. I mean, that's really outstanding. Matt's doing a great job. I have not watched their film yet, so that's on my tomorrow list. But I know that they're doing a great job, and we played them this spring, and they just dug the crap out of the ball. I mean, they were just all over the place. So, and they had a really resilient win against Northern Colorado. They were down big in the 5th and made a run to come back. So they're going to be coming in with a lot of momentum.
Anything else?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.